will help you, live well and improve your physical health and mental health. So all the things you need to do, you need to take your time to do to help you live well and to help you improve both your physical and mental health. That is self-care. Once you're doing it and you're living well, that is self-care. When you prioritize yourself and not really, being selfish, no, you need to prioritize your well-being, your quality of life. You need to prioritize it. Because even that money you want to make, when you die, you will not even take out of it to be buried. You're only left with the option if you raise your kids well, and someone else will take that sweat. So somehow in life, you must, to some point, prioritize taking care of yourself. Like I said the last time, nobody will take care of you the way you will do. So don't put the responsibility of taking care of yourself on another person's hand. You don't carry the responsibility of taking care of yourself and put it on another man's hand or another woman's hand. Take care of yourself. Know that this life is only once. You can come and live it. So that is one. Then these are the small acts of self-care in your daily life that can help you create big impacts over time. And what are these acts? Dr. Obasi had mentioned a few of them and some of them. So these acts of self-care could involve your regular exercising. I know we always hear these things, but remember the key word I said initially: deliberate. Little activities, deliberate activities that will compound to create great impact over time. Okay, so you learn to make up your mind to exercise regularly. You need to eat healthily and stay hydrated. You need to make sleep a priority. We know that, for instance, there is this thing people don't understand about this concept of Sabbath. I don't mean in the biblical terms of it, but this thing about rest. No, so many times we play down on that thing about rest, that concept of rest. That thing is very therapeutic, that so many times your body needs, all the time, your body needs to rejuvenate itself, because naturally God has put processes in place that can help your body rejuvenate itself. So if you had stretched yourself 2-4-7, 6 days a week, at least one day, make out time, sleep, pay yourself by sleeping, pay yourself by taking a rest. It wouldn't hurt you. Rather, it will give you back, rejuvenate you and give you have better quality of life that will prolong even your living. Do you understand? So we need to begin to prioritize rest. I know we are so busy, but we need to prioritize what? Rest. Now you have to set goals and priorities, because these things are the things that hit us all up. We have to remember, I'm talking about self-care helps that will help you manage stress. The self-care helps that will help you. Okay. Now you need to focus on positivity. So many times we have a lot of toxicities around us. We have a lot of toxic people around us, and we have a lot of people hurting, and we have a lot of people, and the truth is that so many times people that, hurting people hurt others. So when you're hurting, you need to be healed. If not, you see yourself creating echoes of hurts on other people's life. However, you that is in the picture, or being the person closer to this person going through a hurt, a bad hurt, you need to, give that shoulder and understand that hurting people hurt others, but don't allow yourself to internalize the toxicities that comes with this. Perhaps you're in that kind of environment. You must make up your mind to stay positive. So have something I call toxicity trash can. When people dump trashes of toxicity on you, have a way to, trash those things, because if you don't trash them, you begin to internalize them, and over time you begin to, become that kind of person which you were never even, that was never in your picture to become. You understand? So we need to do that. Then you have to prioritize things. What is important to you? what is urgent to you, what is important and urgent, what is not important and is not urgent. You must learn to prioritize these things so it will help you take care of yourself and do away with things that you need to do away with. Then stay connected. Stay connected with people. Isolation would not pay you. Okay, these are the ways you can take care of yourself. Now, remember I said number one way is to, how do I protect my mental health? Number one way I said practice self-care. And I had talked about what you should do to practice self-care and so many things to do, okay? Then the second one is know when to seek for professional help. So many times we go, an average Nigerian does not get to seek for professional help except they are badly, when they see that they already, somebody said dead with ED. That is when you see the person seeking for, professional help. No, we have to develop this culture of seeking for professional help. When you have difficulty in sleeping, it's pointing a red flag somewhere. Seek for professional help. When you're having difficulty in concentrating, it's pointing a red flag somewhere. Seek for professional help. When you have inability to do your usual tasks, seek for professional help. Learn to seek for professional help. Okay. Then the third one is always identify the mental health stressors. You must know the stressors. If you know that this thing can trigger this, then you can learn to stay off that. And that's a better way you can learn to prevent that from occurring. Do you understand? Because when you empower yourself with that knowledge, you kind of stay away from the things that will, or you know what to do when these things begin to drag you. For instance, I'll give you an instance. The truth was I had a very hectic day. I came in like 30 minutes ago while the Zoom section was already going on. And it was just a very stressful day. So I came in, I had, one of the stress indicators is sometimes you have a headache, sometimes you have your heart, pounding and palpitating. And, these things, if you ignore them, these things can make you break down to, cardiovascular diseases like high blood pressure, even some stress-induced illnesses. So what I did immediately, sincerely, I came in short, before I started the section, I had to I took 1,000 milligram vitamin C. Why? Because I was like, my heart was already pounding. I didn't know what to do. I said, let me just take these things and then mop up free radicals because I know I'd gone through stress today. So we could begin to form small, daily habits that could help you stay away from things that can just come suddenly to, hamper your health and more so your mental health. Now, when you identify the stressors, what do you say? Stress is our body response to pressure. Our bodies respond to pressure in so many ways, okay? Some people, the time they now know that they're under pressure is when they must have come down with high blood pressure, or you hear that the person had collapsed when the person was, or, you hear people say they slumped. These are the things. And the brain connects to everything in your body. The brain coordinates everything you can think of your body is doing. Is your brain that is controlling all of them. And so you burden the brain so much that even when you need to, concentrate and do something about yourself, you're not doing it. And that is why you see some people, they say, okay, he slumped. Oh, he was healthy. No, he may not have been healthy. He may have had high blood pressure, uncontrolled high blood pressure, and he never knew. So these are the things, do you understand? These are the things that we need to begin to check out. Whenever we're so stressed, these are the things that affect our mental health, okay? So identify what makes you stressed. Identify what makes you stressed. So many different situations or life events can cause this stress. It could be work related. It could be relationships. It could be money. That is the, in our dialect here, we say the pata of them all, money. So when you talk about these things, they are the things pushing, of course, the price of now, the subsidy and everything, what Nigerians are going through already. Natural Nigerian is stressed. A natural Nigerian is stressed. So mentally, the hike in prices and all of that. So you need to take control of it. That was why I said go to this chat box and type that thing. You need to prevent these things, prevent problems. You need to control your mental health yourself. You choose what happened to you, what you can go through in terms of, how you go through. Somebody said it's not about what is happening around you, it's how you go through that thing happening to you. Okay, so you deliberately choose, how do I go through these situations in Nigeria? Since you're not the only one going through this situation, but some people, if you don't choose it well, it can break you. Some people, it can become a stepping stone that will motivate them to discover other ways to solve problems. Okay, as we are crying on petrol, other people discovered ways to, fuel their, using gas to get on light and all of those. Those are discoveries. So let these things be your positive tools instead of allowing them to be your stressors. Okay, so you have to, sometimes there are positive life changes that could pose stress on us, like promotions, which increases your responsibilities, like packing into a new big house, which increases your responsibilities. So these things are the things we all make up our minds to do what? Manage. So the question is again, what do I do? Recognize when stress is a problem. You must learn to recognize when stress is a problem. If you don't recognize these things, it will lead to that problem you're trying to avoid. Now, dealing with work stress is what a lot of us may not really know what to do. But the truth is that you have what it takes to deal with it. Okay, let's take, for instance, you have a toxic boss that's always, maybe probably verbally abusive, or always shouts and yells at any point in time. It is your responsibility to choose how to react, towards that thing. If not, whether you have an abusive spouse in terms of verbal abuses and all of that, you need to choose how you react to that. Sometimes you might naturally find a way to, switch off your mind around that place. But however, like I said, find a toxicity bin where you trash in so many things. And as much as possible, take your time off from, those toxic environments. And so many times we don't even know we're in a toxic environment. I'll give you an instance. Some few months ago, I was posted to a place where I was heading, and then our overall head, for some time, I was trying to get some things done, but she somehow she's usually angered and all of that. And personally, I'm somebody that I don't like operating where people yell a lot. Okay, so I think for like 2 months, it was all about 2 months of yelling, which happens to be a natural habitat for her. Somehow I didn't know these things. I felt I was actually trashing it in a toxicity can, until one day I got up to get to work and I realized that I was scared. My hands were cold. My feet were cold, because I now realized that, I told myself, Lovelyn, what is happening? For 2 months, I was under that particular environment, and I didn't know what to do. So I realized that my hands were cold, my feet were cold. That was when I realized that, okay, there's a question there. So I hope we're enjoying the section. Or am I boring us? Please get to the chat box and talk to me. Am I boring us? Unmute yourselves, please.
We're making progress. You're doing very well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So it was at that point I realized that, of course, for 2 months, I was under that thing, doing what I felt could be the control mechanisms. And one day I wanted to get to work. I realized that my hands and my feet were already cold. And this happens to be a sign of a bit of anxiety. I said, I called myself, I said, Lovelyn, for the first time in your life, you're going to work and your hands and your feet, they are all cold. What is happening? That was when I knew, these things was already getting to me, even without me knowing. So there is a reason why I said it. So many times, some of us might be in a very toxic environment, trying to control things, but not knowing that these things, they're already internalizing them. Like I said, people that are hot end up hurting others. If you're not careful, you end up hurting others. Okay, so I'm telling you my own personal story. So I realized that every time I come back to the house, I was no more receptive. I was no more receptive because I've been worked up, and then I come back and I was no longer receptive. In as much as I wasn't irritable, but I was not responsive to my environment. I was not responsive to my kids. I was not responsive to my spouse. So I was more or less quiet. And when you look at these things, it simply means that it has already started, affecting your mental health. So what did I do? I'm trying to share my story. What did I do about it? Number one, when I came to that point, when I was already, the day I realized that I was going to work and my hands were cold, I went to work that day, and for the first time, I cried out. Like, I cried out. I was like, no, I can't be coming to work and I feel pressured. I cried out, and that crying gave me relief. Sometimes crying is a healthy habit. So it gave me some kind of relief, and somehow my boss had, she now understood that, okay, these things she saw normal had already pushed me to the extreme. Okay, so she now deliberately started looking at ways she could talk without shouting. That is one. Okay, then two, I said to myself, because all of us in that particular department, we had the same reaction. So for the time being, my boss didn't come around. It was like we came to the office the next day, we were all sleeping. Some kind of, they like break. So that will tell you that you've been in a toxic environment for so long without you knowing. And now, what did I even do? When I came back the next time, I told myself I was going to give myself a self-therapy. I had to give myself a self-therapy. And the truth happened to be, the next day I went to work, I was more productive. So why did I say this? Recognize when stress is a problem. So many times you may not recognize it, but your ability to be sensitive to it is what matters. You might think you're trashing something in a toxicity trash can. When you stay in that toxic environment for so long, it will begin to affect you whether you like it or not. So you have to do something about that environment. Either you change that environment or you change those triggers. Okay, that's the essence of this story. So now another one is think about what's causing this stress. How do you recognize this stress and these problems when stress becomes a problem? One is think about what's causing this problem. Think about it, okay? Now, sort them into two. Doctor had already said it. That was why I said it's like he saw my notes. Sort them into two. Things you can control and things you cannot control. Things you cannot control, ask God for the grace to help you solve that one, because that one is not within your powers to control. So what you can change are the things within your powers to change. Okay, like what happened to me, a little bit, it was in my powers to change something, and good 18 by God's grace, I have very receptive boss that actually, for some time, she now realized, oh, this thing has been hurting these people and I didn't know. Okay, so ever since then, she's been trying so hard, to talk to us normally. And that reaction made her to start working on herself as well. So you see, the way you go through things might be just two ways. So instead of, always, of course, that's for people that would want to change anyway. So divide these things into two. Things you can control, things you cannot control. In this life, there are things you cannot control. For the things you can control, what do you do with them? Take control by taking small steps towards the things you can improve. So begin to improve your quality of life. Begin to improve your environment. If it means you taking 5 days break, lodge yourself in a hotel, take 5 days self-break. Nothing will spoil. It is part of self-care. Go to the spa, take some good massages, and then stay in the hotel for 5 days. If it's prayer you want to pray there. If it's just, just a phone call away, your food is ready. Just give yourself that treat. Things you can control, try to improve that environment. Make a plan to address the things you can. Okay, like I had to address that thing. If not, maybe by now the anxiety would have tripled. But somehow I had to address it the best way I felt I still could address it. And it worked for me, okay? Because ever since then, it's been a smooth walk all the way. Now, set realistic expectation and prioritize essential commitments. So if you feel overwhelmed, don't be afraid to ask for help. I know we have strong women in our midst. We have strong men, alpha men and women. And the truth is that there is something about their psychology. They are in their mind, emotions, they are the weakest in emotions. Sorry. So they are usually the weakest in emotions because they are quite emotional. You see all those people projecting so strong. They're actually quite emotional. And so people around them don't even know that they are going through something. But because they've always posed to be strong, they wouldn't even want to ask for help. And most times when they get down, it's usually so dramatic. Okay, so I want to encourage us this night. If you feel overwhelmed, ask for help. Know when to ask for help. Know when to delegate. Stop packing things to yourself and yourself alone. Think about where you can make changes. Stop taking so much. Okay? Do the things you can do. There are some things that might be so serious. You might just do them at leisure. Okay? So when you take life so serious, you might end up, hurting yourself the more. Build supportive relationships, just like Lions Club, where you're thinking something different from what you know. You're networking with other people from different spheres of life. So those things helps your mental health. Then cut out smoking and drinking if you can. They may appear to reduce tension, but actually they make problems worse. So try and do that. You mentioned that not sleeping is a strong indication of mental problem. How do we get around this? Yeah, you seek for a professional help, ma. Then take time to relax. So I hope that we enjoyed the section. And this is where I'm ending for today's section. Thank you for your time. Thank you for having me one more time. I know I've not been able to say everything I want to say, but let's wrap it up for now. Thank you.
Wow. That was superb. That was fantastic. Thank you very much, Pharmacist Lovelyn Obi. I told you my people always like hearing your voice. And today I think is another confirmation to that. Thank you very, very much. Thank you very, very much. Very rich. Thank you once again, Dr. Charles. Everyone have seen what I call him, the erudite secretary. Both of you have done so well, and this has been very, very impactful. I will quickly want, before we ask questions, there is someone who has been waiting to share his life experience with us. He has a first-hand experience with mental health. His name is Mr. Rotimi Ashley Dejo. Mr. Rotimi Ashley Dejo, are you ready to share your experience with us?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so let's get moving.
Okay.
So that we